Right. So meeting with Chris, 17th of June, 2019, and it's just left 1:30. So just ignore that for the rest of the time. It is literally just so I know what's happening. See the last minute stuff that's coming in? Is that like... So one of the things that I got when I was talking to people is that a lot of clients and suppliers and stuff, they still have a very direct line to you. Is that...
Yes, to me, Vinny, but it's sort of now spreading into like Brian and John. It's going that direction now, which is the main reason that they've brought in. But giving the clients how would you put it? They've dealt with me and dealt with Vinny in the past. They weren't too sure about John and Brian because they're new in the door. But I think Brian and John have both got their confidence now, so they bypass me and go to Brian and John, which is good.
Yeah. So you've been seeing, because they've both been here for what, about it, between a year and 18 months?
Yes.
A year for Brian and 18 months for
John.
Yes. Yeah. Which really surprised me, because I thought he'd been here much longer than that, but then I think everybody's been much longer than that.
But John, we've known John a long time through different clients, but we never really sort of got a lot of work through John, bar the grounds maintenance in Glen Douglas. Then when John left, he went to Strings, and even then, Strings are our sort of competition, and Strings like to keep us in the background.
At arm's length.
Yeah, and since John, I would say, got laid off, I took the opportunity and took John on, and it's paid dividends.
Yeah, because he seems to have a really good rapport with the guys, and he's a good all-rounder and stuff like that, so just...
Because he knows the jobs and he mucks in, and he'll push to get the jobs done. Same with Brian. Brian's been in a position where he was in his last job, where he was struggling. He could get the work, but he just couldn't get the guys to get motivated and do the work. Whereas here it's slightly different. Whereas we try and pull together and get the jobs done. So, and they find that a big asset, as opposed to going to jobs in the base and the guys working all day and none have run out of materials and not say nothing. Whereas their boys will come back and they'll say that they're running low and stuff, and they can get the jobs done. And
right, that's good. That's good to know that that the ops staff are kind of... You mean they've got initiative and they notice what's going on? It kind of relates a wee bit to what I've got in this. So, I'll just give you this. Just looking at the organisational structure to start with, because you know that with the KTP, before we bring in all this tech and all that that's going to automate everything, we need to look at the structure of the organisation, the way people communicate with each other, workflows, culture and all that sort of thing. Because if you bring in all this tech and you haven't addressed any issues or anything like that, then what you're going to end up with is tens of £1,000s worth of tech in a porter cabin getting dusty.
I'll admit, I'm not a tech guy. You probably gathered that.
You will be by the time I'm finished with you. And if you're no, we can work around that. But so one of the first parts of the project, because you were at the first LMC meeting, I wasn't there, so you know that the first part of the project is to take a look at the organisation and have a look at the structure of the organisation, how people relate to each other in the job, the roles and responsibilities and things. And that's mostly been why I've been speaking to people. I got some positives here. Close-knit workforce. And there's a general feeling that I've had with all the staff that they all want the company to grow and be successful. Everybody seems to want that, although I will admit I haven't had an opportunity to speak to ops staff yet, but I'm going to remedy that in the next couple of weeks. And there's good rapport among the staff, although there's a couple of exceptions to that, but I'll get to that later. So I find that generally working relationships seem to be good. People seem to be getting on with each other. Staff are willing to be flexible in roles particularly the managerial and office staff. Do you know what I mean? So people will do what they need to do to get the job done.
Yeah.
Got a really strong local presence. And not only is that a strong local presence, but it's also a really positive presence as well. So I think these are, I mean, with a wee bit of tweaking, you can really be, I guess, like a kind of pillar of the community around here. Do you know what I mean? Because you've been here for so long, you've got such a big workforce and you've got such a good reputation that you could really capitalise on that. And just saying that several new members of project staff generating more business and bringing modelling opportunities for future growth. And I'm thinking particularly people like Brian,
Yes,
and
Brian's-
his because it's been really interesting speaking to Brian with him coming from such a, the CDM stuff, so structured and so disciplined in the way that he goes about doing things, and
He knows what he's got to do, and he knows what the client's looking for, to the extent where he's telling the client what they should be looking for, and handing in the O&M manuals and things like that, stuff that they don't usually get from the contractors. And I would say he's taken us more towards the principal contractor's role.
yeah,
And in the past, Babcock, that we mainly deal with, are not used to that. They're used to contractors just coming up, doing their own thing and disappearing. Whereas we're trying to, or Brian is influencing the fact that from a principal contractor's role, there's so much more they should be doing,
yeah,
and Babcock are not even doing it. So I think Brian's good in that side, and
yeah.
he
Yeah,
does know his stuff.
It's like he's taken the project management to another level.
Yeah.
Like it's a big step up. And I'm glad everybody seems to recognise that, which is really good, because I think we could do a lot by modelling what it is that he's doing and making it applicable to everybody. And
I think that's what Brian's driving at. But he knows himself, he can see how much the business is growing in the year he's been here, to the extent where Brian's feeling stretched, and he now needs someone else to step in and help him with what he's doing.
Yep.
To take it to the next level.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's a general thing that most people have said, is that the growth has been pretty rapid. So a lot of key members of staff are sort of like, they're not at breaking point, but it's coming.
But they're out their depth in some certain aspects of the work.
So I looked at some issues in the organisational structure. So for a lot of members of staff, there's a lack of defined roles and responsibilities. So that flexibility and they're willing to help out and all that's great, but without defined roles and responsibilities, it can cause a bit of an issue. And I asked if there was a company hierarchy, and I got given a bit of paper that was that I'll show you. Right, this is the amount of stuff I had to scribble all over it, right? And I was like, that doesn't seem like how things actually are. It's not really a hierarchy, it's something that somebody's just put together for the sake of it. But because the structure doesn't relate to what people are actually doing, then I think there's a bit of a the way I put it there, implied hierarchy. It's enforced by some members of staff without a defined basis for doing so. So that's just a fancy way of me saying there's a slight attitude in some quarters of,
that's not my
I'm up here,
right,
you're down there. You know what I mean? Or they're down there. I'm going to tell you what to do.
It's like an us and them.
Well, that's later on. I exactly say that, us and them. And that's a lot of what the issues that I found. The main things are this lack of roles and responsibilities. Some people sort of hoarding work and responsibilities while underusing and undervaluing other staff, which goes back to roles and responsibilities. Operational staff left out of the conversation, and even I've actually been guilty of that because I haven't spoken to them yet.
Right.
And disconnect between elements of management and ops staff, no formal communication protocols, no formal system of rewarding good worker ideas, and a lack of transparency in payment terms for operational staff. Now, I don't actually know 100% about that because I haven't spoken to them, but it's actually somebody else that I spoke to that mentioned that it was something that the guys would be like, well, I'm IRATA and he's IRATA, how come he's getting paid more than me? Now, I know there's always a reason why, but maybe that's something that needs to be clarified to people, do you know what I mean? There needs to be transparency. So I know that looks like a lot of bad stuff, but it actually boils down to there needs to be defined roles and responsibilities. We need to have less of an us and them attitude, and we need to be more transparent.
We tend, I tend not to try and have a us and them attitude, but we take certain people on for their certain abilities. Now, some folk can be IRATA trained, but they don't want the responsibility of dealing with the jobs. Whereas you've got other folk that are, like say, level 3s, who are good at the job, know the rules inside out, know what you can and can't get away with, but then don't turn up for work.
Right, okay.
So, and then you start saying, right, okay, we've got to start looking at the bigger picture here. The company's bigger than one individual who's holding up jobs, and this is now other jobs that he's held up on. So we've got to look at that, have a chat with them. But I think also maybe bringing someone else in to do it.
Yeah.
But we do have certain people that are trained, but not got the confidence to do the jobs. So some people probably in the job the wrong roles, but want to be IRATA trained, for instance, or confined space trained.
So what that says to me is that the people who are sort of just not turning up for work or anything like that, where's that disengagement coming from? Do you know what I mean? Is it just because of the type of person they are, or is it because they're maybe not feeling like they are part of something bigger, or like, do you know what I mean?
Well, it's a bit of, we've got an alleged brickie who says he's qualified, and we've asked him for his papers, which turns out he doesn't actually have papers. And yes, he can lay brick, but you wouldn't have him build a house.
Okay.
But he wants the responsibility of being a charge hand because he thinks he gets more money. One, he can't drive, can't get himself and the guys to work. Two, he phones everybody every 2 minutes to find out that the work that he's got, he's doing it right. So you'd have to be there with him,
right? Okay.
Which is no point in being a charge hand if you've got to be overseeing him every 2 seconds. The whole point of having the charge hand there is he runs a job, makes sure it's all done, everything's sorted, and he can't do it. And it's not for the lack of trying, but he's got absolutely no confidence in himself. So,
yeah, it's complicated, isn't it? Because you need them to have confidence, you need them to show up and do the work, but at the same time, the work requires, it's more than just confidence, it requires skill. You need to have your papers, you can't...
You've got to have your papers, you've got to have your people skills, that you can talk to the client, you can reassure the client the job's getting done. If there's a problem, you've got to be able to deal with it on site. If you can't deal with it on site, you contact the senior charge hands or the office, and we get things resolved. We've got the backup there, but if we don't know, then we can't help. And if the problem grows, then next thing we know is that the client's pulling us in, and we're getting reamed, for a better word, on the actual works. So there's certain guys can deal with it. There's other guys that just can't deal with it. They want to think they can deal with it, but they can't.
So, can I ask a cheeky question? If someone says that they've got their papers, and then it turns out they don't have their papers, why are they still working here?
He can do the job, but it's one of the things we're looking at. I would say behind the scenes. There's probably, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 people within the company that maybe not be here.
Right. Is it difficult to get staff? Like, because obviously Argyll and Butte's not very, it's not Glasgow, do you know what I mean?
I would say it's hard to get staff that's SC cleared that can work the base. You know, I'm not saying that the guy can't do the job, he's just, you'd need to be on top of him all the time. did think, should we send him on a course when we get his papers? Then we're showing willingness to help him. That's a big learning curve. Then if he takes it on board, it could be a good asset. But at the time, it filled a gap in the company that allowed us to continue doing certain types of work. But under the assumption that he had his papers. And he says even he thought he had his papers, but when he went to the company that put him through his training went bust.
Right, okay.
And they say they don't have the papers.
Right. I mean, it probably doesn't surprise you, but this happened in my last job. The lead installer was supposed to be a qualified joiner. Turned out he wasn't a qualified joiner, hadn't passed 2 modules of his NVQ 20 years ago. And we ended up having to, the only reason we found out that he wasn't a qualified joiner is because we asked him for his papers so that we could get our insurance up to date.
Yep.
And he was just like, oh, I don't have them, I've moved house too many times, you're going to need to phone them. Phone the college, and college was like, he never passed. So, easily done.
Yeah. But there's certain people that are good all-rounders. And they can
He's a good worker, do you know what I mean? He was a great joiner, do you know what I mean? And we did get him through it, but it was...
it was an eye-opener.
Aye, touch and go. So just to see, so I know I've hit you with loads of bad things, but actually this is like completely natural for all family businesses that are growing. Like there's nothing happening to you guys that hasn't happened to every single other company in your position, and it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. In fact, I think a lot of the stuff here is that you personally have done a lot of things right by people, that it's fine when you're a smaller operation, but when you start to get bigger, you kind of need to take the heart out of it a wee bit.
I know, you've got to sort of step back and you can't be everybody's friend, and there's sometimes you've got to just say, no, enough's enough.
So, and yeah, typical situation experienced by local companies experiencing rapid growth, which you guys are. But just to let you know, so most companies when they're in this position, I've got here that they have a reactionary process for dealing with these kind of issues, and that is they wait until it all blows up in their face and they go, oh my god, we're going to have to fix this. And what you're doing is you're actually looking to make the changes now before something, you know what I mean, terrible happens in 6 months' time or something like that, or 12 months' time, or you reach breaking point where you can't grow any further, but the work's still coming in, and you're going to have, and you get to that point where you're knocking back so much work that it actually starts to affect your reputation.
Because you start going elsewhere.
Exactly. So, and you're not there yet. I know you're knocking back a lot of work and things like that, but I think you've still got a really, really good reputation amongst your clients and amongst the wider area. So, so defining roles and responsibilities, defining teams, sorting out communication issues and all that, that'll give greater productivity and an easier workflow, easier transition into like a bigger company mindset. So it is all good news.
It's hard sometimes letting go and let people do certain things, and some of the office staff like that. Patrick Kevin's another, because they've dealt with certain aspects and trying to prize it off them sometimes, and I've got to step in and say, put Rachel through a training course because we had an issue with Kevin because I had a bit of a falling out with him over stuff when he took sick, and then we had to put Rachel through and get her to do the health and safety, and then when Kevin came back and realised that Rachel was doing stuff and she's not qualified, then she is qualified, and then that sort of flipped it right round. So the reason we put Rachel through it was because if you're not coping with it, then we've got to have that backup and flexibility to take the pressure off you. And probably saying those words, taking the pressure off, and sort of eased it a bit, because if someone's not coping or they're getting too much work, then other people can fall in and do the role.
Funnily enough, that's one of the things that I've been speaking to people about, is the idea of identifying and training your backup people in the company, because eventually, let's say 3 years' time, the company's 3 times the size, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not one single person in here that should still be doing the same job. You know, we should all be on a different level. And if everybody who's here is on a different level, who's doing all these jobs? Yeah. And you need to start identifying the people who'll be your backup just now, because ultimately that's how you end up training the people that are going to come underneath you. So, and that is something that I've sort of like mentioned to everybody, is like if you want to grow as the organisation grows, you need to start identifying either gaps in the employment pool, you know what I mean, that need to be filled by other people, or people who are already here who have the talent and the skills and drive to actually fill in the things that you want them to do. So that's kind of part of the recommendation, to be honest, is define the key managerial roles and responsibilities, and that goes with the administration staff, and I would say the supervisory staff and charge hands as well. Flatten the organisational hierarchy, build a culture of open idea sharing and innovation across the whole organisation, and involved operations staff in decision-making process. So I've put together a very, very rough proposed new structure. So you're at the top as the managing director, but what I foresee is actually there'll be a wee offshoot here, and that'll be your research and development department, and that'll be you'll be the managing director, and you'll also be heavily involved in research and development. So and you'll notice that all of our management are all on the same level, because if you're a manager, and that includes me as the digital transformation manager, Patrick as the office manager. I've kind of changed Kevin's role a wee bit to be health and safety and compliance, because Patrick's doing a bit of the personnel work just now anyway. So why split the personnel work over 2 people? Not that I'm saying that we should give Patrick more work. I actually think we should take some of Patrick's work off of him. And actually, instead of Patrick doing the compliance work, the compliance dovetails very nicely into health and safety with a lot of stuff. So I feel like Kevin could handle that fairly well. And then we have 2 project managers. Do you know what I mean? And I've got John there, and I know John is semi-retired and desperate to be so. So his first job will be identifying the person that's going to take his job over. Although he has informed me he's going to be here for at least the duration of the KTP, which is nice.
John's good. He's keen to see it.
Yeah, he wants to see it through.
He said he kicked the ball, so he needs to see it through.
Aye, well, he's the last to touch a ball, like, take it. So I thought that looking at this is Brian is the sort of
he's a key
key projects plural manager for public and tenders and stuff like that. And then John, you've got John in the private and commercial. I know we don't do a lot of commercial work, but that's actually one of the areas that we've identified that we want to grow, because just now we're all, you know what I mean, we're top heavy. It's all public and tender work but on the bases. Tiny wee bit of private, but actually that commercial area is the middle bit. I want to grow that.
How do you mean commercial, as in?
Commercial, I would mean stuff like working with, basically not working on tender projects and stuff like that. So working in things like, I'd say like private schools, private hospitals, just anything that's in the private sector rather than in the public sector.
That's it, the Britain Housing Association and things like that. Because there's a lot of their works can be, in the past, can be quite funny. We've dealt with the hospitals before, and you need to get onto all the big tender lists, and then you're taking a big step up, but then you could be committed to doing a lot of work. In the past, it's been a lot of stuff that's based on rates, and the rates are absolute crap. We're competing against the likes of, it used to be ISS, it's now a company called Tavori, and what they do and how they chase a lot of the work for the grounds maintenance side, for talk's sake, when they get a job for Dunbritain Housing, they go to Dunbritain and they say to Dunbritain, right, we want to enter Dunbritain, but like Eastern Bartonshire, we'll take on 30 staff, people that are on the dole and things like that. They then give them the training, Dunbritain, Eastern Bartonshire will give them the training, they'll pay 4 out of 5 days or 3 out of 5 days wages for them. So they basically got free labour.
Right, okay.
And we can't compete
Can't
with
compete
that.
with
We're paying the guys a decent rate. These guys are coming out and working for dole money, and they're working from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, get jobs done, on the assumption they're going to get taken on over the winter. But when their 6 month or 7 month contract finishes, they're put back in the dole and then they go and take another.
Right, okay.
So we can't compete in that sector, especially when it comes to working within the bases. Whenever staff have got to drop and go into base and do work, have SC clearance and roll from Fastlane to Coolport to Glen Douglas. And that's how we'd be ISS or Tavori as they're now called. They don't have the staff,
Right.
and they don't have the commitment
Right, okay.
to like Fastlane and Coolport. Fastlane and Coolport are the only 2 MOD contracts that Tavori don't have,
Right, okay.
and it's because we're keeping them out. Otherwise they would have everything in the UK. That's all army bases, navy bases, RAF bases, MOD housing, is because we're keeping them out of these 2 bases, or they'd have absolutely everything.
So actually, speaking about that then, because you see down here I've got operations team, public/private base or specialism base, work with them to decide how to move forward. But actually speaking to you, there's been a bit of an assumption that, we want to grow this middle ground, we want to grow this commercial sector. And I think we probably still would, because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. But actually what that says to me is maybe this Brian and John situation ought to be based on specialisms then, because if you still want to focus a lot on the base work, then we're going to want to keep teams as things like confined spaces, rope access and all that sort of thing. It's not going to be divided so neatly between these large public projects and these smaller commercial.
I'm not saying that we don't go for some of the commercial works, but if we could specialise in some of that.
No, but you're giving me food for thought, honestly. Like, this is good, because like I said, I've got it there that I was sort of muddy about whether that was the right thing to do. So
the other thing that we can offer them as part of going for the commercial side is that all our staff are security cleared. They're trustworthy on site.
Are there other avenues where security clearance would be a big bonus apart from, say, on base? Even though you might not need the security clearance, but people would really like it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it gives them confidence that the guys have been through and cleared, and we say that to some private people. Like, so when we did some work for Dunbritain Housing, they say if you're working on private housing estates and you're working on some MOD sites, that you don't need the clearance for working on the housing sites, because they're not fenced in. We've got the reassurance that we can say to them that all our guys have been vetted and are SC cleared to work on these sites. Are your other contractors, who's vetting them? Because some of the sites we've had to go to, you've got to have your Disclosure Scotland and things like that, and some people can't get it.
Do you know, I know I must sound like a broken record, but the first thing that pops into my head when you say security clearance, the type of people that would like that and that don't necessarily need it but would want it, are people on estates, stately homes, especially the ones that are still privately owned.
Nursing homes.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Because they've got gardeners coming in and doing the gardens, Who's checking them? It's a lot of people that we've dealt with within the MOD and such like. We could turn up at a job in private clients in Helensburgh. So what you might cost a bit more, but why should I pay your rates over somebody else's? Says, my guys are all security cleared. Well, never thought of that. The guys are insured. How do you know the other guys not insured? said, have you seen his insurance? Has he turned up? Has he given it to you?
You want to take a
No.
chance?
I've had police come back to me and said, you know, by the way, you were right. The guy doesn't have insurance. The guy doesn't have that. And I should know better because I'm a policeman.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
Do you know, that's a great selling point to the private sector, though. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like luxury or high end,
Yeah.
because you've got, it's like I guess it's like the Audi of grounds maintenance and security and things like that, because you've got all the stuff that's above and beyond what people would be looking for, and much easier to prove it as well. So
you don't have to display it outside, but at the end of the day, you know, if they want to check, then
they can
by all
check.
means you can check. You know, it's especially if you've got places like say Loch Lomond Golf Course that have get stuff done, and they've got big events on, or Glen Eagles or something like that. You know, you can say, well, our guys are security cleared. They've got these qualifications behind them. They can come and do jobs. So if you've got big, high-paying clients coming in, then your normal run-of-the-mill tree surgeon guy or grounds maintenance guy in the background, you've got the reassurance that you know he's SC cleared.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know.
so it's like an extra level of peace of mind, if you like.
From insurance, maybe even it's an insurance sales point for when they go and apply for the insurance. How do they know these other companies they're bringing in are insured, and to what level of insurance, and you know, are these guys trustworthy?
No, that's really helpful actually, because it means that it's actually given me a better understanding as to how you would grow this bit. And it's maybe, like you said, it's maybe no chasing that middle ground. It's maybe, or slightly, but you're expanding more on the private side, this private side of stuff, and you're being selective about it.
Selecting your clients and saying, you know what, we're going to target these clients. You know, the National Trust is one. You turn up on their sites, and they're not worried about what you're going to do on site, because we got a lot of work out of the Health House in Helensburgh. One, the Trust is on site. Well, we're a local company. We came recommended from the council because the council said, you know, they're not going to do with it. They recommended us because we'd done work for them. We went and did the job for them. They were over the moon. We had all the health and safety paperwork. We did all the work packs for them, turned up, gave them the copy. They're over the moon at the end of the day, and they knew we worked on the base. And so there's certain jobs that we've got to drop and go. You know,
It's just an extra bit of...
you know, and but at the same time they accepted it because they thought, well, we're getting guys that are cleared. You know, we've got guys that's on site here that we know are going to do the right job.
Yeah.
And sometimes, because again, you're not the cheapest, but we had one client that is the reason you got the job. He says, do you know the reason you got the job? I says no. And he goes, you're not the cheapest in Helensburgh. We're doing a lot of tree work for him. And I says, it's not about being the cheapest. He goes, I know that. He says, by far the best in Helensburgh, but not the cheapest. And that's how you got the work.
Yeah. Well, the cheapest usually isn't the best. So, I spoke to Vinny, and I know that he's as a contracts manager / works manager, whatever, just now. I actually think moving forward, and this is going to be a month thing. Do you know what I mean? This isn't like tomorrow. Is his focus is on business development. Now I know he does a lot of stuff on site with the guys and all that sort of thing, and I don't think you necessarily need to stop that. But when I was speaking to him about, right, if we were able to expand, you know what I mean, operations to different commercial sectors and things like that, do you think you would feel comfortable just getting out there and, you know what I mean? Does he shaking hands, kissing babies? And he's got no issue with that, so I think it's a massive asset actually.
Vinny is good. Vinny's doing at the moment. Vinny's doing the job that I was doing before, and Vinny goes out there. He knows all the clients. He's got good people skills. Vinny could tell them to F off to their face, and they would still give him a job, shake his hand and walk out the door. You know, that's the type of guy he is. But and they know that he'll do everything in his power to get the job done.
Yep.
To the extent they're saying that we'll hold off the job until you're ready to get it done, and then we'll get the job done.
Yeah.
I mean, doing it Coolport, the amount of jobs that's come through this year, because Vinny's been in talking to certain people, you know, that is, the company is growing, and the company does need Vinny there. And to do what he's doing, because it's one of his best assets.
Yeah.
And folk just take to him. Galliford Try, Morrison's, Graham's, Henry Brothers, Balfour Beatty, Babcock, you know, the list goes on. You know. He gets on with them all.
Yeah, and that's amazing, and that's the type of skill set that you can't buy,
No,
you know,
it's-
and you can't train it into somebody either.
No,
You forgot. Right, all right, did you? Did you mean he wasn't born like that?
No, he was always the golden child. He was young. But no, he is good at what he does, you know, and he can't take it away from him. You know, he's just got he's got a really good rapport with Brian as well. You know,
Yeah, I got that impression.
a lot of daft nonsense, you know, a lot of banter, you know. At the end of the day, they get the freaking job done, and you can't ask anymore.
Yeah. I thought if we're going to put him into a more business development mindset, then he'd need an administrator, because he was at great pains to sort of like let me know that he's not a techie guy. He's out there. He's a hands-on guy, and that's absolutely fine. Don't need to force people to be techie people. You just need to get the people in to support them.
Yeah, and Rachel did a lot of that support, and Marie Claire did a lot of that support. But Vinny is better on the ground. He does need to. Well, me and him both need to sit there with a computer and go through it, because I use my computer as a doorstop. You probably noticed. You know, the last one I gave away to somebody else. but we are better out on site, meeting people, because people expect to see us. I'd say that people expect to see us on site. I went down to Coolport this morning. Graham Barry, the head guy from projects, down at the main gate, and he's like, "Hey Chris," straight out the van. You know, he's waving to us. You know, but because we talked to him, I didn't even know he was a head project manager for Babcock. I was in the office one day, and he said to me, "Are you busy?" I said, "Just bits and pieces." This is lying git. He says, I'm the project manager. I'm putting all the work your way. I said, "Sorry." I said, "Well, we're running for a feed." But we just, I don't know. Just, you get on with the clients.
But see, if that's what you're good at, right, then don't go changing. Basically, you obviously, and it's one of the things that I'll touch on a wee bit later. As the company grows, you need the role of managing director does become a wee bit more precise, you know, but it's still very much a face of the company. Do you know what I mean? And it's, you know what I mean. It doesn't mean that you have to be chained to your computer or anything like that. No. I've already sort of and we do want to try with you first to see if it can if we can make it work in terms of any sort of tech that we bring in. But I have said if we can't make the tech thing work, if it's just not gelling, we can get a PA or something like that. Get somebody who's just going to do it for you. You know what I mean? Like it's the same with Vinny. Do you know what I mean? Don't try and force people to do something when you can just get somebody else to do it and you can play to your strengths.
I think Vinny's, I'll be honest, I think Vinny's better on site. And if you have somebody who can come back to say, "Look, I need this done, need that done, get that sort of do it, that sort of do it," and they go and do it. And that's why Vinny likes dealing with Rachel. Because you'll come in, he'll ask for something, and you can walk out the door knowing it's getting done. And that just takes all the pressure off him to go and do what he's doing. Because if we're working with the guys, when he's got a squad there, there's Paul, Alec, Lewis, and then he brings a couple of guys in between. But between the four of them, the amount of work they get through, and the amount of work they pull in, you know, because they gel really well together, and they work to each other's strengths, so they know who can do what stuff. It's the same as investing in the right kit for them to do the job. Yeah, you make a couple of days out, or we go somewhere and suss it out, we'll get it sorted out. But then that makes the job run 10 times quicker. And when it runs that quick, the profits just go right up then. So you got to pay that wee bit up front, but you get the job done.
Speculate to accumulate, as they say. And yeah, obviously Darren, he's in as a yard manager just now, but I've sort of extended that to our facilities manager because I'm sure there's a lot to do in the yard, but I think if we sort of tightened up what everybody else is meant to be doing and had some of the guys actually using some of their downtime to actively help him and stuff, then you could sort of run the whole show, do you know what I mean? Like, and in that way, other people aren't concerning themselves with things like making sure there's enough toilet roll in the toilets or anything like that.
Well, Brian was saying that what we should probably have up the top side is if Darren's doing certain jobs, Darren's a lorry driver. He's got his high-up tickets and he's got a lot more skills than what we're probably using him for. But it suits Darren to be here just now because he's not got all the driving and all the expense that he had before. He's probably slightly better off, but he's so much more capable of doing other stuff for the company. I think he could gel really well with it. And if he moves up a scale and somebody else falls into doing what Darren's doing, then we're going to get more value for money. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what it's all about. Because there's a few gaps and things like that here, but it's all about if you're going to find the people that are going to be in these places tomorrow, you look here first, you know. And so one of the things that I've sort of made a little bit of a change for is for Marie Claire. Now, obviously, she's an admin assistant just now. And I've got her down here as a finance officer, and that's because I was talking to Marie Claire. She's actually got an HND in accounting, and she's done like quite a lot of courses and things like that, and she might not be there yet. But see if you trained her up to be a finance officer, see the amount of work that would take off Patrick, and it's something that is really needed in here.
Yes, there's a certain role that... Right, best way to put it. I didn't want Marie Claire dealing with the wages room.
Oh, right, okay.
That was sort of that bugbear.
Okay.
Because people are in different pay structures and I'm the mum. It'd be all round everyone very quickly.
Right, okay.
And I didn't want that part of it. Marie Claire deal with that. I dealt Patrick to deal with the wages. Marie Claire can deal with every other side of it.
Yeah. Well,
but I've said to Patrick, if Marie Claire's idle at times, you know, give her the stuff. But the wages role was the only one that I didn't want her to have.
Yeah. Well, let's do that then. Do you know what I mean? Let's say, Patrick, that you keep the wages. All of our finance stuff goes to Marie Claire. Although I am wanting to use Marie Claire for some of my project stuff as well, because apparently she's done stuff with Gantt charts and all that sort of thing, and I need help with financial reporting for this project, and also doing Gantt charts and stuff. So when she said that, I was like, oh aye, I'll be having that. So, but I was thinking that because just now it seems like Patrick has got so much on his plate, so spread out over so many things.
He doesn't want to let things go.
I know.
And that's what I've said, that's what I'm having to do. I'm having to let Brian deal with that, John deal with that, Vinny deal with that, Patrick deal with that, until I was in holiday there and thought,
what
my phone hasn't rung. Is this the way it's meant to be?
It is.
And usually my phone, at the last 2 holidays I went on, I was doing tenders on holiday, and I'm thinking, my wife was freaking out, but I told you know, going, what we're here on holiday, just give me 10 minutes, you know, but that's what it was like. But it was better this time because folk are doing things that I don't have to be too involved in unless it goes wrong, and then or the guys have got an issue or a big contract comes in and they want to run it by me.
Well, that's what they say, like once your business gets to a certain size, you should be working on the business and not in it. And if you're working in the business once it's past a certain size, then you don't have a business, you've got a job. And you know what I mean? But the number of people here where it shouldn't be a job for you anymore, it should be a business. So I'm glad that nobody phoned you when you were on holiday.
Well, I made a couple of calls to Vinny, and I spoke to Rachel, things like that. But just one engineer from Coolport phoned, and then I got one of these stupid numbers that's obviously want to you know, insurance claim
Yeah.
or something that I had an accident, you know, but that was about it, which was good.
I think that's really positive, actually. So generally, what do you think of this sort of more flattened structure where all the management are on the same level? There's no one manager higher up than any other manager, and all like if anybody's reporting to you, it's a manager reporting to you. So there's no sort of ops guys coming to you for stuff. They're going to their supervisors and they're going to their charge hands.
That's what I've tried to say in the past. You know, they shouldn't come to me.
Yeah.
They should just take it to Vinny, take it to Brian. They've got a problem. They come and ask me if they can. It's one of the things that Brian says, that how he sees the job being done. He says we're running with job numbers all over the place, and the office staff should be generating I said a spreadsheet at the end of the month that says that job number, which could be the Gilport EHJ porter cabin job, that everything goes against that, and then he gets a tally of all the materials and the bills at the end of the month, and he can see if anything's been. But he's got to sign it off before it gets paid. Say, yeah, I'm happy to pay that, I'm happy to pay that. No, I've got a dispute with that. Whereas at the moment, Patrick would pay all the invoices.
Pay the invoices, yeah, and you can't dispute them then.
And you can't dispute them. John Mitchell already caught one company trying to put £1,800 worth of stuff through. So that shows what Brian was trying to say. You know, it's not that we're trying to take stuff away from Patrick. It's a case of we're saying that we could be having an ongoing dispute with the company, and Patrick doesn't know about it, I don't know about it, but the guys are saying, no, I was getting know about it because I was dealing with it. If I couldn't deal with it, then I'd bring it to you, which is this hierarchy that gets put in place. And if the staff were doing these spreadsheets and the costings, they could say, this is what it's going to be at the end of the month. Because then, Chris, I can turn to you and say, look, that job's made 10%, 20, 40, 60% that month, so I'm doing my job. Yeah. And if I do my job, then do I get a bonus?
Yeah.
You know,
so that's what it all comes into.
That's it all comes
No shame in it. No shame in it.
That's it, you know.
And I think, see, to be honest, we're trying to take stuff away from Patrick a wee bit, but for Patrick. So if there's a way of making sure that the invoices are, the invoice numbers and stuff are generated more easily, generated in a more coherent way, that the project managers are reviewing them and that actually they're being processed by Marie Claire after the project managers have had a look at them. It's free up so much time for Patrick to think about HR, to think about our standards, all that sort of thing.
I think the R&D.
R&D as well, yeah, R&D with you.
You know, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
The R&D, there's so much can be claimed back to R&D from all the different IPs. It's probably another part of the business that we're not capitalising on.
There's actually R&D tax credits, yeah. Because it's quite, because we used to claim them in my last job, and it's a fiddly, complicated business.
Is it?
It can be. If you want to, get the fullest extent out of it.
Yeah.
So, and then that's when you need somebody like Patrick who's able to dedicate time to it, dedicate headspace to it, and yeah.
It is, it's because we claimed something like 50,000 back last time for it, which covered a lot of the cost, but it's taking the QB system to another level.
Yep.
And it's not time all spent in the one run. I've got Matthew working on stuff, Rachel was working on stuff, I was working on stuff, Vinny was working on stuff, Ross and David and Gerald, they're all doing certain things at different times, but it all goes towards the R&D because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And it's another, I wouldn't say it's a tax dodge, but it's another way of giving back your time.
Well, if you're entitled to it then.
And well, that's what we're saying, you know, it's not like it's, at the end of the day we have a product that's patented, and they said that because it's patented that they can't reject it because a lot of stuff that they get doesn't even get as far as that. So people just use it as an excuse to claim stuff back, Whereas we've actually done something
You've
with
actually done something with it, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to keep working on this. I'm going to keep developing roles and things like that. I'm especially going to develop this area more with Brian, John and Vinny. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why I'm having a meeting with them on Wednesday morning.
I did notice something. There's not Ken in there still.
Right, well, I tell you why there isn't. Because he doesn't really have any project just now, and he doesn't. I don't really know where to fit him in, and yeah, I knew you'd spot it. I don't think that he is on this level.
No.
And I'll tell you why. I spoke to him on Friday, and I was kind of a bit underwhelmed by his approach to what his job was. And I get that you're quite new and things like that, but it made me think, right, I can't put you up here with these guys because they all have distinct roles, or they will have distinct roles. They're all working hard, do you know what I mean? Or they've expressed that they want to work hard. And Ken is needing somebody to tell him what to do. And it's not a mindset that's going to contribute to growth of the company. And I did speak to him, and I did say to him that I might be able to get him in with doing drone surveys of like listed buildings and roof surveys and stately homes and stuff. I just need to speak to my old boss. But I didn't feel like I should have to be offering that lifeline, do you know what I mean?
I've asked him a few times to get certain things done, and he was supposed to bring things to the table, and he hasn't.
Yeah.
And we'll see how tomorrow goes. But after that, then we'll see.
We'll see. So yeah, well spotted. And that's the reason why. It's because I can't get the measure enough of what he's all about, and
he's not forthcoming with
yeah,
information.
Exactly.
As I said before, I think he feels threatened by it.
Well, nothing you can do about that, is there? Like, so I'll just pop on to, and yeah, so we've already sort of touched on this. So, initiative and taking responsibility for development. This is a bit of a concern that I've got, and I didn't want to name names, but it did actually come from my chat with him, and yeah, some members of staff not taking the initiative to develop their own workload, get their own business. And I said this mindset needs to change over time if the business is to develop and grow. All members of staff must be engaged in making the business bigger and better, and to make sure they're empowered to a certain extent to be able to carry this out. The idea that you've got the power to do what you need to do to make your bit of the business bigger.
Yeah. And
that's your job. Your job's, it's not just to turn up and, do you know what I mean, get through the next 8 hours of the day. It's to be...
Aye. I'm looking for this.
Yeah, I'm looking for the opportunities. How can I make it bigger?
Sometimes I'll give an example. The QB system is an example. It's been a long-term project, and you've had to run a business in the background. You have to run a business, the QB's running in the background, but the QB's always been there, and it's opened a lot more doors, which has helped the business grow, and the QB itself isn't still full at its full potential. But that's why Cameron's brought him, just to take it that bit further.
Yeah.
And I've given him contacts, all the rest of it, and he's probably sent an email, nothing back, he never chased it.
Yeah. That is really concerning, and I am going to touch on this in a wee minute, but I know it's hard to, and this is the same in the last place I worked, it's hard to get people that will just have a blank page and make something of it, do you know what I mean? But I think, and I'll touch on this later, I think we need to start encouraging a culture where people feel that they can do that. and formalising that sort of attitude where people think, well, actually, if I have an idea, it'll get taken seriously, and that's for anybody at any stage of the game and stuff. So, and that actually leads nicely into my next sort of general concern, which is management versus ops staff. Now, obviously, it's not all management, it's not all ops staff, but it is a bit of a, and you said it earlier, us versus them attitude. I've noticed that we Ken, and I've noticed that with Kevin, it's very sort of like, it's very like, I'm here, you're there, and I get it to an extent, but it's not conducive to driving the business forward.
It puts people's backs up, and I've seen it on site, whereas you walk up to the site and you'll see someone not doing something, not wearing a bit of PPE. And the first thing they think is, whereas you say, look, come here a minute, look, like, word, no, you know you're supposed to wear this, you know, I'll let it roll, but make sure you get it on, you know, and get it sorted. Anyways, the total difference way you approach them, you know, can make all the difference.
Yeah, and I think if we're already and John Mitchell mentioned this, that, you know what I mean, getting boots on the ground, bums on seats is hard, you know what I mean? And, oh, in you come.
Gerald's up at GPD and they say they've got nothing for him. We spoke to Alec.
You should have a bolt for him.
A bolt?
Yes, it's a bolt.
A bolt that you're looking for. Right,
yeah,
okay.
The bolt.
Right,
okay.
I'll let him know. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah, it's, if you're having a hard time getting ops staff, if you're having a hard time growing the ops part of the business or keeping people in the business, then the last thing you want is that sort of, you know what I mean, that sort of issue, because it will make people go, well, you know what I mean, if that's what you think of me, you know what I mean, if that's how you think you can treat people, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure sometimes they deserve it.
Yeah. But at the same time, you've got to know how to handle it.
Exactly.
We've had guys out there, and I could phone up the guys at night and say, look, I've got this job on, can you come out? 99% of the guys, will be there, and they'll get the job done. And, you know, they get rewarded for it, but they also take it as a challenge sometimes to make sure that, you know, we'll all get this done, we'll get that done. They work as a team. But when you get somebody who you feel deliberately trying to put a spoke in the wheels, you know, just upsets everyone. And like I say, Kevin's not as bad as he used to be. Ken's now the one that seems to be driving a wedge between people.
Yeah, and you can't have that.
No.
As I said, some members of staff feel it's a position to discipline operational staff without clear protocol. This is a key thing. And instead of operational staff being seen as a pool of future talent in the company, they've been seen as like the other, or, you know what I mean, us and them, like you said. And ultimately, we're all in this together.
Well, we don't think I've got that us and them thing.
No, it's definitely it's specific members of staff, and I've mentioned what I've seen. But I think you got to stamp it out in all areas. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean singling people out. I do have some ideas later on for how we can get past that. So
do I. Mine's might be quicker than yours.
And just another one is leadership and operational involvement. So this is about you. So the company feels that managing director could be more focused on developing and growing the company and developing future strategies rather than taking a direct hand in day-to-day operation. So generally everybody's looking at saying the company can grow, it can do really well.
Yeah, but you need to take it away and let it happen.
Yeah, and I get the impression that you are still dealing with a lot of stuff and you're trying to juggle this. You know what I mean? You're a guy on the ground, but you're not. You know what I mean? And I know it's difficult to try and balance that.
It's certain aspects of the business where, you know, I like doing is the R&D or the
Yeah.
intellectual property stuff. I've got some ideas that I want to sort of nurture, but the business gets in the way. And if I let it, I feel more confident with Brian and John and Vinny, Ross Hennigan, David, leading the projects,
Yep.
and I can say, right, okay, get it done. I can step back and say, right, okay, I need to look after the vehicles. You know, what vehicles need to replace, what kit do we need, you know, and which direction we take the business, and what tenders are coming in. You know, I like some Brian and them do their bit, and I can say, right, okay, I can concentrate on how to develop the yard, how to change things. So I do see that, and I do see the boys saying, I wish you would just get out of the way and let us go on with it.
Yeah, I think that's the issue is from talking to everybody, I get the impression that you like to fix things and you'll do anything for anybody if they ask you, more or less. So people know that, oh, Chris will sort it out, or Scott Chris and he'll sort it out. So you're playing that difficult game between, oh, I need to take a step back, but then you've got people who know that you'll sort stuff out, or people that think, well, I'll just go to Chris and he'll do it. So even though I say this is about you, it's not just, you're not the only person that can fix it. Everybody else needs to
Well, I've got to let them fix it.
Yeah.
If I'm not there, like it's on holiday, the business is still here.
Yeah. We only had a couple of minor fires, a couple of deaths, that's all.
It's still there.
We're still here. No, it's good. But you know what? A lot of people that I've spoken to said is that actually over the past 6 months or so, things have gotten exponentially better, and that actually tallies in quite well with Brian being here, and maybe John picking up more work, and them growing in confidence and things like that. And you feeling that you can actually take a bit more of a strategic leadership role and focus more on things like QAB and all that. So people are saying actually things are getting a lot better, and that's already happening. So
It is, but the business has, actually in the last 2 years, the business has gone through, I would say, a big change. But we had to be in a position where Babcock felt confident that we could take on the works. I think one of the big things was when we did a presentation for Babcock and showed them what we can do, and then they had a rethink. They thought maybe West Coast aren't this company that just cuts grass and
we
trees
fly by
and
night
things, but,
operation,
you know,
yeah.
When we started explaining all the major projects that we help facilitate via Strangs and Graham's and Gelling Duke Council and all that, and they then said to me, didn't realise it was use it doing the job. So yeah, we're doing the jobs for the other companies, and the biggest kick in the teeth to Strangs was Vinny was on the job, Vinny ran the job, and it was outside Babcock's procurement's office. There's a new bus stop to get put in. Strangs had the contract under their framework contract to put this in, didn't have the manpower, and couldn't complete the job on time, which meant the buses couldn't run. The buses were blocking up the streets because the bus stop that was to pick everyone up from that building, all the Navy guys and everybody else, and distribute them around the base. It was becoming an absolute nightmare. So Babcock says to Strangs, give the job to West Coast and just get the thing done. So Vinny went down and we did the job in something like 5 days, and that was excavating everything, putting the base in, putting all the slab down, putting a new stairway in, building a new wall, and putting up the bus stop signs, all sorted out. And the standing joke with Babcock that, see that bus stop that West Coast put in, it's the best job Strangs has done on Vaseline. And it sounds grand.
Best job Strangs have never done.
But Strangs, it was their contract, but Babcock's head procurement guys in there and project managers all seen us doing it, and they realised that Strangs couldn't facilitate that job in the time set out and to the standard that we'd done it. Even Strangs came back themselves and said that they couldn't have done what we'd done in that time scales. And their engineers, John Carson, that going, why are we not doing that? Why is we having to get West Coast in there to do it and make us look like idiots? And from that point, things have started to doing the presentation, doing that job, and then last year we got it's about £800,000 worth of work off a, and there was over £1 million worth of work off of Babcock at the year end spend. This year we got something like £850,000 worth of work plus an extra 180,000 at the end of it on this sort of job that Brian was doing, all under the year end spend. And that's Babcock now coming and saying, look, we don't have to give all this work to Strands, we don't have to give it to Graham's, we don't have to give it to all these companies. We've got a company on our doorstep that can come in and do it. And we're the only company that's finished any of the works in budget and on time and within the timescales. And even the Commodore, the base says that's the first time Babcock's handed their job over under the timescales and within budget.
See, that's amazing. Like, it's no wonder that the company's grown so quickly when it just seems like there's no comparison between the quality and efficiency of work that you're putting out there compared to other people.
It's other people's mindset. We've said to Babcock that we've done the base 25 years, so 27 years. We want to be there now 27 years. Other companies have come and gone. Strangs are basically on the way out the door. When they get found out about the next lot of stuff, then they could be out the door. But Babcock already offers Strangs works. We're trying to put a team together and know what to do all the Tarn works, because that turns out to be about 2.5-3 million a year in Tarn works at the year end spend. And if we can facilitate that instead of Strangs, we'll get the work.
So, doubled your money, yeah?
It's not, you're paying a lot of money, don't get me wrong. You're paying the Tarn teams out a lot of money because it's a lot of materials. But the way we do our business, we factor. And if we can factor it and make the money to pay the guys, then we've just got to wait for the factors to get their money for Babcock, and then we've got all that money for nothing. So basically just organising the teams on site.
So, right, so I'm going to move on to some, and I'm nearly finished, I promise you. So, I've got some priorities here. So, QAB strategy. So, I know that the QAB situation is part of the parameters of the KTP, and I think the strategy for QAB it needs to be restructured. So everybody that I spoke to said that they saw QAB as being a really, really good opportunity. Like, this is a thing that could take us global, you know. But I wanted to ask you if you thought there was enough being done to drive the QAB forward at this point.
No, I don't. I think that the QAB is hitting walls, and it's one wall after another after another. Folk like it, but folk hate it. And the fencing companies now, if the QAB does take off, the fencing companies are going to change the fences, or they try and buy the QAB out and bury it.
Yeah.
And
which I think might be more likely.
I think personally, I think they're hoping it'll go away, and we're not going away. And the more they sort of try and hide it, you know, as if to say, you know, that it's really good, but it's not up our street. It's not what we do. Then someone at some point, either health and safety, have got to say, well, how do you install these fences? How do you work on these? You know, there is a safe system there of doing it. This is what you should be using. You know, do we go down the health and safety route?
It's a possibility.
Then you've got the other side where, you know, you've got these guys installing all these fences and people seeing how it's installed, and people then start copying the system without playing the fences. Does that make the fence null and void? Then what type of fence do you go for? Then we've got other brackets and other ideas of how to
fix the different fences and things like that.
How do you say it is fix, install, whatever. You know, we have a way of helping facilitating the maintenance works on the fences. I don't want to say breaching, because it's not its intended purpose, but for certain departments like special forces and such like, covert operations, MI5, MI6 and all these other ones that are out there want to use it, then it's an option. But they gave me permission to put it on the open market. It's, do I do that? And then it's, everybody sees it, terrorists, the
Yeah.
whole lot. You know, then they start going, well, prisons, national infrastructure, bases, you know, ports and all sorts of airports. Then you feel like, you know, I'm compromising the security.
Security to an extent. So the reason why I'm asking about QEB just now is because we're going to DESI on the 10th of September, and my understanding is that we're exhibiting at it to demonstrate QEB and stuff like that, to basically show it off. And it's only 11 weeks away, and I don't see a project plan or anything like that, a timeline, any sort of strategy for the exhibition, and it's getting me a bit, you know. So
You've never been down to one. This is why we want to go tomorrow to D.
well, it's IFSEC to tomorrow.
IFSEC, right.
IFSEC tomorrow. Yeah.
And take you down to showing you. I mean, we put the Rachel, which is absolutely brilliant, put all the stuff together, the stand, all the stuff last time. We put all the kit together and we went down and we did the show last time. And putting the stuff out there, people just coming over and going, it's doing. You know, it shouldn't be here. People at a high level going, you just mad? Like, nope, we got permission. This letter, put it on the open market. They went, I don't know what they've done. And should I let my, well, as someone said, don't let the UK government worry about you, you know, that's, don't let them rule your wallet, because if they want it that bad, then they'll pay you for it. But it's one of those things, you feel like, you know, you're doing a lot of work with the mod and the bases, but at the same time, you stab them in the back with a QEB, and you think, do you,
You've got to have a balance.
how far do you rock the boat?
Shall we go to IFSEC tomorrow, have a wee swatch, and then I don't want to death by meeting on Wednesday, but maybe before the weekends, come back together and have a chat about the QEB situation, and you know what I mean, what we're going to do for DESI then after going down tomorrow and seeing what the script is.
Because the last time we went down and we just put the display up, and then just people just started coming and talk to us, and you'd explain what the kit does.
Yeah.
Then they know straight away what it can do for their own reasons, and that's what gets their attention.
Because one of the things that had been brought up was that actually the last time that it did that, exhibited it, there was a lot of inquiries, a lot of stuff came out of it, but there was nothing in place to actually be able to deal with them, and and that's what I'm talking about as well. It's not just what we do when we get there,
It's
what we do when we get back, you know.
Yeah.
Especially with DESI being so huge.
I spent a lot of time phoning up people that were sort of the main targets for it, and no one came back. And you're like, we hit a run there here. That folk, it's because it seemed to be the same situation all the time. You're showing them what you've got, and they're going, how do we deal with it? And it's like, they don't know how to deal with it. So, as far as they're concerned, it doesn't exist. That's the feeling you get, you know, and you're thinking, well, are we sitting here with a dead duck because people don't want it, or do we put it open market, start selling them out the door at £100 a hit?
So, if you don't mind me asking, what's the goal then of going down to DESI?
Well, this is the big as a fencing show.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of the main fencing companies like Jackson's, CLD. I don't know if Sawn are going to be there. Better Fence. All these ones are going to be down at the show, and they're all trying to sell the latest fences, whether it be 358, Armour Weave, Super 6, Super 8, Super 10, you know. Depends what they've got there. And we know that CLD are doing a demonstration on how to attack the fence and how long it takes to get through the fence. And we can say, well, there's our video clip, we can get 3 guys over the fence in 27 seconds. Why do you want to spend 5 minutes cutting a hole in the fence? You know, that's the sort of thing that trying to go down there, see what the market's like. And if we can generate hires for the equipment, then if we take, for talking sakes, CLD have got 6,000 installers throughout their company, whether it be through Europe and the rest of the world. If we could get our equipment to them, even say we got, you know, 20% of the market, and we are hiring the kit out at, it's 130, say about £200 a week per kit. So you could pay £600. Is a minimum. You normally get 3 kits, ladders and all that. So it works out, I think, about £300 a week. So for that £300 a week, times what? Even said what? 500. Times 500. What does that work out at?
15,000?
15,000 a week.
Or is it 150,000? Either 15,000 or 150,000.
I've got my phone on, so it's not working.
Maths isn't a strong point. 150,000. There you go.
You know, if you're hiring that out for 52 weeks a year.
So the aim, and this is for when we go down in September, is test the market, get the name out there, and look at obtaining a certain number of hires, if possible.
Yeah. But I think.
But that's good because that informs what we do in the run up to September.
So I think IPSEC might give us a better way in, because you've got a lot of the big fencing companies down there that don't know us. You know, I think Ken's put something on the AFI for the newsletter in September. I don't know if that falls before
Desi, yeah.
Desi. So that'll be interesting because a lot of the biggest market is 358 security fencing. Everyone's got it installed. A lot of the nuclear places, Torness, Hinkley Point, and all these places are getting it, and they all struggle with health and safety, how to install it safely, and we can make the life easier with the kit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they see how easy it is to breach it.
Yeah.
And that's,
that's the balancing act you've got into it.
Yeah. And that's why we're trying to keep it within the security industry. But then it doesn't matter what fence they put up next, because what I'm looking at for the next phase of QEB, you know, it doesn't matter what shape the fence is. It would need to be a brick wall. Yeah. And then it's a brick wall, you're back to a ladder. You know, so.
Yeah. Right, that's helpful then, because it means that we're looking at security, we're looking at testing the market when we go down, we're looking at trying to make inroads into the higher market. And I think if we go down to IFSEC tomorrow, have a wee look, have a wee chat, see what we think, and then when we come back, try and actually have a plan for going down in September. And not just a plan for like what we're going to do on the day, but what we're going to do in the run up to it and what we're going to do after it as well.
We have said to people, you know, if you want, we'll come down and we'll demonstrate it in the yard. We went down to Birmingham Bar Tape, which is, I think it's Locker and Bain is the name of the company, Daniel Bernstein. And he said, yeah, come down and show us it, just what you've got. So I took a team of guys down. We went in, and he says, I just got the, he bummed about how wonderful his business was and what he was doing, and he was working with Donald Trump and all the rest of it. And he says, what have you got? I says, well, me and Vinny were sitting there. He says, we've got a bracket system that fits onto your fence. No, these fences are age resistant, they're, you know, the aperture resistant and all this, you can't climb it. He says, yes we can. It shows it. And I put it straight on his fence and he went, he didn't know what to say. And I know the first thing he was thinking is, you know, the fencing market's wrecked. You know, and I did think, you know, do we take it to the Scottish Government and let them raise a question with the UK Government? Or do they want to have it out in the open market? Because on Friday there we got the notification back about the European patent granted on the 2nd of July.
Fantastic.
So that'll be it official. And then I can put it over in Europe.
Yeah, anywhere you want. So, and I think Theo was talking as well about looking at markets in sort of safe NATO countries.
That's the other thing. I mean, with Theo in the university, what doors can they open those markets? What contacts do they have that could? I mean, West Coast are going to some country and saying, "Oh, we've got this bit of kit," you know. Whereas the University of West of Scotland, maybe got contacts there through one department or another, and says, "Oh, by the way, have you seen this? This is what we've got access to for," you know.
But that's why stage 3 of the project is expansion. You know what I mean? So, like this is something that will be dealt with in this project, is expanding the project beyond, you know what I mean, beyond the UK, and that comes from a mixture of the company expertise, the university expertise, university contacts, university opportunities for networking, Innovation UK, who basically pay for 2/3 of the KTP. You know what I mean, the contacts that they've got in a sort of like global scale and things like that. So that's the third part of the project, which will be a fun part, but it's a wee while away yet, is about expansion. So you mean you will be able to take advantage of the university's sort of knowledge and things like that, and the university's expertise in order to do that. So,
but from that point of view, who would deal with that side of it? As in, someone from the company? Would it be me? Would it be somebody else? Or you bring in somebody else again who could deal with that side?
well, that's a question that we probably need to have near the time. Maybe the initial phase of restructuring goes so well that you're free and easy, you can do whatever you like, and it can be you with me facilitating it as the sort of bridge between the company and the university. Or maybe we do need to get somebody else in. I think it will really depend on the markets that we decide to go for, the message that we're putting out in terms of, you know what I mean, the marketing message, the sales pitch, and also the type of objectives that you've got, you know what I mean? So I want to sell this idea. Is it going to have a very, very different objectives to, I want to run this as a going concern and have it, you know what I mean, on a higher basis or whatever. So when we define all those, then you'll be able to start thinking about the people that will be able to do it. That's down the line. First, we need better internet. Pie in the sky ideas, do you know what I mean? Yeah, internet access, and I think it is time sensitive. So obviously this is a business transformational growth project, and it's all very well and good talking about how we're going to contact NATO and stuff like that. But if we can't get the internet working.
I mean, a lot of some of the companies in the base, they've got it's like a satellite or some sort of receiver there for the internet, and they're running all the computers in the base, no problem. And they're linked into the TigerNet as well. So, and they seem to have no real issues with that.
What I was thinking of is I tried to look at commercially available satellite 4G, and it doesn't really seem to be a much of a big thing just now for guys like us. So I thought we could look at going to a wireless 4G internet. I found a company that does it without a contract, you just do it on a rolling monthly basis. And they specialise in sort of industrial and construction companies and things like that, basically people that are exactly in this situation. So I spoke to BT and they said that we're using, at the maximum, we're using 100 gig a month just now across both sites. But obviously, when we, if you get better internet, people are going to use more of it.
Yeah.
So basically, 100 gig a month with these guys is about 150 quid a month, and that's without a contract or anything like that. BT, you could get it for slightly cheaper, but it was a 2-year contract, and I don't want to get it. The worst thing would be to get the BT wireless 4G, and then it'd be terrible, and then you'd be locked into a 2-year contract, you know. So this is a rolling contract. I think that actually 100 gig is not going to be enough, and would actually probably need 200 gig, which would be, I think it's about £200 a month. It is something that you're going to have to invest in, but what I would say is,
You see people sitting there going,
absolutely, yeah, the amount of time I'm seeing being lost, and then everybody's saying, oh, I'm really pushed. I'm pushed for, and you know what I mean, I just never have enough time. But the internet stops them from doing what they need to do. So I definitely think it's an investment that needs to be made. I think what we could maybe start off with is getting the 100 gig of this wireless 4G and running it in tandem with the broadband that we've already got. So you've got you can use the wireless 4G, but then you've got the broadband as a backup in case we are sort of overusing it, but then without oversubscribing ourselves for too much per month for the 4G. So I will send you over the pricing that I got. It's really, like I said, it's 100 gig. It's just under the £150 a month mark.
because I know Kevin, he spoke to somebody and he was on about, was it, I'm not sure if it was Daisy Communication or Yale.com or something like that said they could do X, Y and Z.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go with Yale because I was with Yale in my last place and they're shite. I mean,
Not the best.
pardon my directness, but I wouldn't wish them on my worst enemy. Daisy, I've never worked with, so.
Right. Daisy's not good to me. We've worked with Daisy before, but it's just that this place is so hard. In one respect, it's the ideal place. In the other respect, you can't get the internet to make it what it could be. So if we've got to go down the route and it's going to be £150, £200 a month, then it's got to be money well spent.
Yeah.
Because people up there like Brian and John and yourself, Rachel, everyone's sort of slowed down to a snail's pace. Yeah. When you think,
I can't work on the website here because the internet's not fast enough to deal with the website, because obviously the website's all video backgrounds and stuff. Yeah. Can't work on it here. Need to work on it in the university or work it in the house, and which is fine by me. I don't mind doing that, but ultimately you need to be able to do it in your work, don't you? I'll send you the costing and that over for it. It would be good if we could just get it sorted.
Make life so much easier.
Yeah, if we can get it turned around by the end of the week, that'd be great. Brilliant. So, promise I'm nearly finished. Promise. So the second last slide. So before tech, so I know there's been a big emphasis on this KTP being all about tech and you know what I mean, tech this, tech that. There's a lot of stuff we need to do before the tech. And I've used some pretty fancy, highfalutin language here, but create a culture of collaboration and co-creation, embracing all members of staff. So that's basically meaning that we're all in this together. Everybody knows that we're all in this together. Everybody feels valued. Everybody feels that they can, that their ideas are just as valuable as the next guy's. Yeah. Everybody feels like there's something in it for them to make things better. So I think that we need a bigger, more comfortable house. Is that what we're calling it? House?
Yeah. House or cabin up the top.
Cabin for the guys. And I tell you why. Because I think we need to create a space on this site that everybody can go to. Down here, up there, the guys, everybody goes there. Everybody interacts with each other. Everybody intermingles with each other. It's going to be awkward at first. It's going to feel weird at first. But then everybody is... We start to feel like we're all in this together.
Yes, problem I have with that is the office starts at 8 o'clock, right? And the guys are supposed to be on site at Coolport at 8 o'clock. So you've got all the workforce disappearing before the office staff turn up.
Right. So I know that, and I know that you can't have everybody together all day, every day. What I think you should do is, if we get this bigger space, more comfortable space, then I think that we should encourage everybody to meet there on a regular basis, share ideas, intermingle, break down barriers. And what I'm saying is we could do this one Friday afternoon a month or something like that, where we meet up for team development, we have cake, or something like that. We have public recognition of good work carried out, good ideas, you know what I mean, all that sort of thing. Doesn't even need to be every month. If that's going to be too much, we do it one Friday afternoon every 2 months or something. Get everybody up in the same place. It's a celebration of how good everybody's doing, how well we're doing, you know what I mean, how we're moving forward all together, you know. Just something to really
That gel.
bring us together. And maybe looking at having events, company events, maybe when the sun gets nice, you know, as Theo was saying, you mean do it on a bank holiday or something like that, and get everybody a day off, and we do like the WCC games or something like that. We have some, you know what I mean, things. Somebody was saying to me that there's a fire pit and that here and all that sort of thing. So just let's try and get a bit of fun factor, a bit of family factor, team building, because I think if you do that, then everybody starts to feel more valued, and everybody starts to feel like they can start saying stuff. And I think if everybody feels like they can start generating ideas, and some amazing stuff's going to come up, and then you're going to start seeing who your real diamonds are as well. And yeah, seeking opinion, insight, advice, recommendations from all members of staff. So I think to start we do this with a suggestion card system that we can put in the house, because the guys don't have an email address or anything like that, so there's no point sending them, well, you can do it in a Google form, you know. And just try to get some ideas, make it a regular thing, get the supervisors in charge hands to encourage them to be doing it, all that sort of thing. And because there's a saying, people support what they help to create. So if you get people to help create all these things moving forward, they're invested in it. So
There's a lot of that I do agree with. Having going back with some of the boys in the past, if some boys turn up to an event, other guys won't turn up to.
right, okay.
But you get certain ones that will turn up to everything, and you get other guys that will say, if there's drink involved, it's never a good idea. Which we've been there with guys that are nearly wanting to fight with each other because some home truths come out about the way they work and things like that. So I've been out with guys on nights out before and saying, look, if I take you out, go for a meal, you know, we've done really well, let's go for a night out. Everyone's got their own idea what a night out is, and it's embarrassing if you get turned away from a club for someone's antics in the toilet and things like that.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's this, that's only certain people which might be part of the business development, that either they're not fit for purpose, or
Possibly.
other ones that, you know, if you can bring them on and sort of bring them into the, it sounds daft to say it, but bring them into the fold. Some people stand out all the time and they don't stand outside.
And they don't want to be part of
They
it.
don't want to be part of it, but they want to be there to do the work and go home. Other ones, so, you know, sort of, well, I'm not interested. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And you get that with a few of the guys, and it's trying to break those barriers down at times.
Yeah,
It's-
that's what it's all about. I think you get over a few of those issues by making it during the day. Make it on a work day. You know what I mean? Just say, do you know what? I'll still pay your wages for the day, but it's compulsory. Do you know what I mean? There's not going to be any drink at it. You know what I mean? We're going to do it in the yard, and we're gonna. Do you know what I mean? We're gonna have a dry barbecue or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? It's a company thing. It's compulsory, and you all need to be there. Sometimes you need to force people to enjoy themselves.
No, I can see it, but there's other times where you think, it's
A way
absolutely.
to help you, you see. I understand.
I've
Yeah.
been out with certain ones and it's been a fantastic night. You think, everybody just, got on great, they got the ideas and, you thank the guys for their, for their work and the help not getting stuff done and they're saying, you've been the best boss and things like that, And it is a bit of team building. And I know they can come and talk to us any time, but there's other ones there that will be. So, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Twiddling their thumbs.
I'm just not doing it,
I think the point is if we, because I know that you've been doing a lot of stuff like this before, but I think if we formalise it, make it part of the company culture, make it part of our business structure, that we do stuff like this, then A, it becomes more expected that it's just going to happen, but B, I think if you're consistently getting people that are refusing to engage, then you think, all right, okay, I'm going to look at the quality of their work then as well. Like, is it, you know what I mean? Have we got somebody that is a real outlier here where the quality of the work's poor and they're not engaging with the rest of the staff? Or, you know what I mean? Is it just that they're shy? Is it if you do it regularly?
It's someone that's shy, and there's other ones that, he's had family issues in the past, but he's used to come and tackle to him all the time. Ali said this, or so and so said that, and so said this, and I had to go and say to him, look, see every one of those guys that you're coming back every 2 seconds and saying that they're doing this or they're doing that, or you're not happy with this, happy with that. Says they're the same guys that you go to Glasgow with and have a drink with. Those guys have got your back. I says, and all you're doing by coming down and telling me little wee snippets of certain things, I says, I go back to the guys with that. I says, you're not going to get that help or support if you get into trouble in Glasgow when you're out with the guys. Went away and thought about it. Next thing, he was starting to slag them and give them the same as what he was giving back, and it was the banter then going 2 ways as opposed to 1 way. Because he wasn't reacting.
Yeah.
His reaction was to come and tell me.
Yeah.
And he's turned round and he's still quiet, but at the same time, he'll. Great worker, very methodical, very safe at everything he does, can't fault him, but then he only likes working with certain people.
I think that's true of a lot of people though, although sometimes you just need to suck it up.
Well, that's it, that's what I've said before, you just need to go on with it,
Yeah.
I don't like every single job I do, I certainly maybe don't like everybody I employ, but if the guys can do the job and get it done, then fair play.
Yeah, with a smile on my face.
That's it.
I also put you formalise a system for recognising good work and good ideas, like having like a green card, red card system. Do you know what I mean? So green card, it's a good idea on site. You get a green card type thing, count up your number of green cards, and that either gets you a bonus or it gets you like an extra day's holiday or something. Same with red card. Well, opposite with a red card.
Aye.
Because I think what I was getting for Vinny was that actually the guys on site are quite innovative and they're quite they think on their feet and they look for the best ways of doing things and all that. And sometimes it's recognised and sometimes it isn't. And the thing is, if you're coming up with good ideas, I'm not saying that you baby people, but if you want everybody to be having great ideas and everybody to want to move forward to this like digitised future and things like that, then if people are having good ideas, then let's start acknowledging when they're having good ideas, especially if it's on site. And equally, if they're not wearing their PPE or whatever, then red card, green card. I think it works out quite well. It's quite simple, do you know what I mean?
But who implements it? Is that the charge hand?
Well, that's the thing. That comes back to this, doesn't it? It comes back to,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Is it team based? Is it specialism based? You know what I mean? Do the charge hands feel, and that's another thing I've heard, is that the charge hands and the supervisors aren't necessarily doing the charge hand and the supervisor work. So what do they need to feel like they're empowered to be charge hands or supervisors?
That's one of the things that we're saying about Eugene, is thinks he's a brickie. And John asked me a couple of questions and he couldn't answer any of them. You know, that's how you're not a brickie.
Yeah.
You're a brickie's mate at the end of the day.
But when you start doing these things, when you start getting in amongst it with the guys, I think it's a bit different for you because you're already in amongst it with them, but me, some of the guys in here, do you know what I mean? No in amongst it.
I can understand that because this is what I've said to the office now. They're not at the coalface. They're not seeing what shit the guys are dealing with on site. They do get we do get a lot of awkward jobs that nobody else will touch, whether it be the razor wire, the rock face works, landslips halfway up the hill. You've got to take 100 ton of material up in buckets. You know, they don't see that side, and they don't understand what the guys are dealing with when it's pouring from the heavens or it's snowing and they deal with the ice and so on. It's a lot of stuff that we do on that side the office doesn't see. And I keep saying that to them, you know, unless you're out there, go and try it for a day.
Well, rather you than me.
But
I know where my strengths are.
Yeah, exactly. Use people to their strengths, but when the guys are less, it's like, how do you put it? It's a Kevin or Ken attitude, where they think on paper that job should take X amount of time to do it. Why is it not done? Not as it.
But you never know what happens out there. Like,
I mean, we've been down there, and there's been the gates are shut on us. You know, there's restrictions. Depot alarm goes off. Can I get access? You know, then no one can you claim it? You know, is it a compensation event? If there's a compensation event, it's a compensation event. If it's not a compensation event, and we just couldn't get the job done for whatever reason, then we go back and rethink it. But some jobs will win, some jobs will lose. Yeah. And you've got to roll with it sometimes. And you go, next time, the next job's it's going to be one way or the other, you know, we're going to do it. And
but it's all a learning process though, you know.
But Babcock are quite, you know, quite lax with us in some respects. They'll say, look, we know it wasn't quite the job we thought it was, but look, we'll get you sorted out, add a bit on to the next job, and they'll roll with it. So they're good in that respect.
Yeah.
And they don't want to see you screwed over, but at the same time, they don't want to be screwed over. And we watch their back, they watch our back, and if it helps, we help each other out and get it sorted.
I mean, I think it just all comes back to being one team and getting rid of the us versus them thing, and everybody appreciating everybody else's job, and appreciating what other people do. Cause I come from another construction company, which was nothing like this. It was like all mostly internal stuff that they were doing and all that. But I still couldn't have done their job. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but they couldn't do yours.
like exactly. But I think it just helps to, like I said, before you start bringing in loads of new stuff. It helps to take a good look at what you've got, who you've got, and I think if you do all this, this is when you start identifying the people that will be good charge hands, will be good supervisors, will be good managers. Yeah.
Problem I've had, because it's a family-based business, it's all my brothers. I own the business. Everybody else works for me. And when I'm telling them something as a boss, they take it personally. And they think I'm just having a go. And I'm trying to give myself that distance. And it has got better with Brian coming in, John coming in, because it's like, whoa, wait a minute, you know. It's sort of taking that sort of gap level. Patrick wouldn't handle the information you bring. So Paddy, speak to him. Bring his information. Get it from him. If he can do his job without the information, we've got a problem with that we don't have. We'll get it sorted. I've got Patrick and Brian. Brian had on his chart side of his desk next door, he had blue markers at certain dates on the calendar. And I'd say, Patrick, Brian needs to have these jobs done, these valuations raised by certain dates. And he goes, what dates? There's all those blue dots on the calendar. This date's going to get all these valuations. Why never told me? So have you spoke to him? Have you asked him? No. It's a two-way thing. Brian's got it in his head that he knows these dates are the dates he's going to get. Just what happens, he missed the first date he was supposed to get. But Patrick went, alright, I didn't realise he had to do that. So it's a communication back and forward. So it's working a bit better now. Because I see the emails passing back and forth, Brian asking for certificate numbers or order numbers and all that, or invoice numbers. So Patrick's sending them straight back and forth now. Because before, I could probably lie there for a couple of days.
Right, okay.
So I see that now starting to work. But it's just things like that, I think. But I think it's the tech side of it, or before the tech comes in, then if we do go over all the stuff and say, right, okay, put that in place, then I think it'll work.
Yeah. You've got to believe that it's going to work, and then you've got to work to make it work. And that's, I think the thing is as well, I think it helps with me being here because I'm no family. You know what I mean? I'm employed by the university, actually. You know what I mean? Like I'm a real outsider, but I don't let being an outsider bother me. And you, as I've said already to a couple of people, change when you're the only person who's expected to change is hard. Change when everybody and everything else is changing is actually quite easy, and everything else and everybody else is going to be changing, so it actually becomes easier to do because it's not personal anymore.
No.
It's organisational, you know.
It's running a business. You know, it's hard because, well, it's hard for me because dealing with family all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I stopped going to family events because everything turned out at work. And Chris did this, or Chris did that, or just stop this or stop that, you know, and you felt, I don't need it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to keep them all employed. I don't get the best wage that I should have because I keep investing back in the business and everybody else gets before I get, sort of thing, you know, and they don't see that side. So I can now sort of step back a bit, and they find it easier to take direction of somebody else who's not a family member, you know, and they do take it better. If I see it and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, or it's a really slow process, and then if I really stamp my feet, then it's like Kevin, take sick. You know, that's what happened last time.
Yeah.
And you think, I won't try to do it in the days, run a business and
Yeah.
keep us employed.
I think what we need to do is we need to figure out the structure. We need to figure out what the internal communications process is and the protocols and the workflows. And so as far as anybody's concerned, that's me that's working that out. Now obviously it's not me that's working it out. I'm asking everybody else what it is and then putting it into a bundle and, you know what I mean, tying it in a nice big bow. But I think the illusion that this isn't coming from you has actually been quite helpful.
Yeah, honestly, it's like that, and sometimes it is a bit of kidology, and you think, yeah, it's if I see it, then it's on football. Whereas somebody else says it,
Yeah.
I would say that, and it does. And I'm not saying I'll tell you what to say, you know, but it's sometimes that's what it comes through.
Yeah.
It's like, John Mitchell some days and go, but that, brilliant idea. You know, or if I've said something, you know, I make mistakes, not everybody else, you know. If I do something wrong. But if you do something wrong, you try and fix it. You know, you can't fix it. Then you just deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. So just nip on with this. So yeah, I think actually We need to get company email addresses for all staff, but starting with the site supervisors and charge hands, they don't have email addresses. And I don't know how can we keep in contact with people and how can we keep people up to date with what's happening if they don't have email addresses. I was quite surprised that they don't have email addresses actually.
The email addresses we've had have been that blooming long. You know.
Well, come December, see when we're shut for Christmas, that's when Theo and I have decided that we're going to switch the email addresses over because it means that there's going to be minimal disruption. Not that there's going to be any disruption because there'll be a forwarding system onto your new email address, but it just seems like the best time to do it, do you know what I mean, when it's quiet. And I think we could...
if there is a problem with it and we're coming back after Christmas straight into the year-end spend, is it going to be the best time if there is a problem? Because that's when the biggest bulk of work is going to come in. And if it's done before Christmas, at least if I haven't got any problems. Yeah,
that's a good point. Actually, I guess we could maybe do it in the couple of weeks run up to Christmas, and it's all very well and good me sitting here saying there's not going to be a problem because there's not going to be a problem. But I think if we want to look at alleviating any concerns that you might have about coming back on the 7th of January or whenever it is, and it all being an absolute mess. Not that you wouldn't be checking your emails over the holidays, I bet. You don't know me. But I'll say to Theo, can we actually maybe do this sort of mid-December, and so that we can iron out any issues.
I would hate to think you'll go straight into the year-end spend because that's when everything starts hitting the fan. Because everybody, I would say, December, January, they're gearing up for it because they know what money they've got.
They know it's coming, yeah.
As soon as you hit January, February, they're going to be full swing into, let's get everything done.
And it's going to be pandemonium.
Aye.
Okay, no, that's a good point. And I'm going to do group emails as well, so there'll be like rope access at WCC, and it'll go to like several different people, and I'll make sure that we're always sort of getting in contact. I went to a innovation and digital readiness workshop on Thursday at Booth Welsh Engineering Company over in Irvine, and it was run by Workplace Innovation EU, and it was brilliant. But I sat there the whole time going, I've already drank the innovation and digitisation Kool-Aid. I'm not the person that really needs to be here. Chris needs to be here, the ops guys need to be here, Patrick needs to be here. So I was thinking maybe a wee bit further down the line we might look at getting one of these innovation guys to come in to the company to do a workshop with everybody, to get everybody on the same page, to get everybody excited, and do you know what I mean, just really into the idea of completely transforming this company. And I know these are all really woolly, soft, touchy-feely things, but that's just the type of person I am.
But you've got it's a Brian there who's desperate to see the business grow. Brian knows, when Brian first came in, he said, where we've got our office up there just now, ultimately I want to build a big workshop with offices above it and things like that, and get it all sorted out. So, but it's the chicken and egg, you know, we've got to do what we've got to do just now to get then apply for the planning. We'll get the plans done and then apply that to Defence Infrastructure Organisation, see if they will run with it and let us do that before we can then submit it to Isle Butte Planning. Because if we do Isle Butte Planning first, they see it, they go mental that we've kept them out of the loop. So we've got to go to them first, and the architect messed it up last time, caused a whole shitstorm.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, but that's what my ultimate goal. Then I can have everybody in one place and have workshops or R&D bit downstairs so we can develop things even further. So that's the big goal. That's
the future. So let's put that in a sort of medium term thing. Training for staff, new roles, internal training for personal development. Where did that go? There we go. So So yeah, just more training for people. And like I said, internal communication structures and workflow protocols and things like that. So we need to get this in the bag before we start doing tech. And then the first steps, sorting out the internet access is the first tech thing we need to do. I think we need to look at updated laptops and operating systems for Marie Claire and Kathleen. They're currently operating on Windows 8 and 7, and the rest of the team's on Windows 10. And their laptops and operating systems are making a bad situation worse when it comes to the internet. So it's maybe something to think about. Emails for all key members of staff, so we'll look at that in a wee while. A secure, shared, accessible Google Drive with all company folders and documentation. I'm already trying to put that together. And then all existing company files need to be digitised and binned. We digitise them all, and then on the 5th of November we set fire to them.
That all the old files? So how do you go about digitising?
Well, what you do is you get somebody who's got a decent phone or a scanner, and then they just scan them, and it goes straight onto the cloud. And we can set it up so that when something's scanned, it goes straight into certain folders or whatever. It's going to take, I mean, I'm not sure, my understanding is you've got a lot of files. There might be some that you could just get rid of. I'd need to have a wee look at what you've got. But we maybe just need to get somebody to just do it for a working week, maybe.
We did it before and we got rid of a whole heap of stuff. Stuff that was records going back to, I don't know what time. We said one thing we should really keep at the end of the day is the insurance details. So if there's a claim from years gone by, then we've got the information there. But all the quotes and things like that, if we've got a lot of stuff that's out there on computer, but all the old copies there was stuff up there from 20 years ago. You know,
you don't even need to digitise that, unless it's a huge client, do you know what I mean?
No, it's not. It was a forestry commission and things like that, you know, and you just think, we don't need this.
Done it.
Well, Patrick didn't want it done anything. I had to make them go through a lot of stuff and just torch it. Just get rid of it. Everything now is digitised. You know, you just get rid of it. And you've even seen, you see these apps you get now for doing your accounts.
Yeah.
And they're just photographing the invoice and basically bin it.
Yep.
You know, but does the tax man, is he happy with that?
Yep. You will be. But yeah, look at that. And then I want to get everybody into a habit of generating website content. So creating a culture of content gathering and sharing. Guys on site taking filming what they're doing. I know it's really difficult on the bases. So we need to try and think outside the box. And I will be pulling the guys up for this. John, Brian, Vinny, and I think there's only 3, because I asked them to send me stuff for the website and none of them have. And I think so. I'm going to be giving them a wee talking to,
because it is
difficult. But we can think, we can put our heads together and we can come up with stuff.
Right, but I mean it's difficult and it's difficult when, I don't know if you remember the British and the French submarine having a pump at sea. Well, we were involved in putting all the security systems in place for that, and we had to basically explain to the MOD what they should do, so no one can get a mobile phone on site, and until like that, they hadn't a clue. You know, but we sort of look at them, but we make sure that we're not allowed, we don't take photos on site. We try and get the depot. Even if they give us their camera, we can take photos. They can release photos from that, so we can say we've done X, Y, and Z, but we've got to have their blessing to put it on site, and it can be done, but you've got to have the client's blessing. Yeah,
no, I understand that, and Brian did say that. So I think we need to get it then. So yeah, and I'm happy to speak to them, do you know what I mean, or speak to them with Brian, or speak to them with yourself, or whatever, do you know what I mean, just so they know I'm not some random I mean I am, but organising the website to reflect the internal communication structure. So once we know where all the internal communications go to, we can make the website reflect that as well. And we'll be developing the Google admin on the Google G Suite over time. So we'll be taking one process at a time and we'll be sticking it on the G Suite. So it's not going to be like a massive change where you go away for Christmas and then you come back and then everything's digital and I've burned everything in the in the office. Promise. It'll be one process at a time, one thing at a time. We'll all be learning it, and you know what I mean. That's why this is a 3-year long project. And rolling and ongoing staff training in the G Suite system, which is what we're using. And finally, introduction of tech and apps for all staff to increase productivity, but only if this is required after we've gone through all the communication stuff, after we've gone through the Google administration stuff and all that. If we get to the end of that and there's still gaps in what's required for productivity or for staff well-being or whatever, then we can start looking at bringing in more tech, bringing in apps and all that sort of thing.
Because I know it's the person who loves his apps. And that app and everything.
Well, and that's one of the things I've asked people to tell me what apps and subscriptions and all that they're using, along with what equipment they're using and things like that, to make sure. That's how I found out Marie Claire and Kathleen had, pretty not great operating systems. Is so we can look at, actually, can we get rid of a lot of these apps? You know what I mean? Can we get rid of a lot of these things that you're paying for because we can incorporate it on the G Suite?
Yeah.
Can we just get rid of it? But I need to have a look at everything first and then have a look at how we're going to communicate with each other and all that sort of thing. And like I said, it's a 3-year project, so and I want it all. My head's like I want it all done. You know what I mean? By the end of the year, do you know what I mean? So yeah, sorry that was so long.
No,
I did want to be thorough because this is the first proper time I'm getting to speak to you apart from the supervisor meeting. So I did want to make sure that you knew where I was going with things, and I wanted to get your sort of input and things. So
I don't mean it's taken a long time to get this far. You know, and it's going to take a long, but it's trying to build proper foundations to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And if I can do that, and I know I've got the money sitting there. So right, okay, then we can do X, Y, and Z. It's going to get better. It's been easier getting like John in, getting Brian in, you know. Getting other people in to do certain roles. It is getting easier, and Vinny's dealing with a lot more stuff. Brian's dealing with a lot more stuff. There's other ones that I've got to sort of step up and fill the gaps. So it's going to be interesting over the next wee while.
Yep, I think so. I've been really enjoying the project so far, and getting to know everybody and sort of thinking my way around, you know what I mean, how we can move forward. I'm quite excited about it. I like being in like fast growing businesses and things. I like the chaos.
We can swing from, I've got to make phone up tomorrow, end up with a massive job or a massive headache we've got to try and sort, and we've got to try and deal with it.
Yeah.
Sort of do it. Same with Galford Try. They come up with stuff. They're talking about us doing a Gabriel basket job. That could be another £200,000-300,000 job that the company's down there doesn't want it.
Yeah.
They found a hard way to do it, and they don't want the aggravation. And if we can give them the easy way to do it, then
we'll take their money.
no qualms at that. You know, I'll take it all day long.
Yeah. So then that's something that we've got to work into the system and work into the organisational structure, is that actually these emergency jobs come up fairly regularly. There needs to be a contingency there for staff. There needs to be available staff there that we can use for those jobs. Is that something like bank staff, temporary staff? Is that something that's possible? Or
You can't get. The problem is
they don't have security clearance. But then could you take somebody off your private work and then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we get all our staff now, technically everyone that works here should have SC clearance. I believe your clearance is in at the moment, going through. Has Kevin put it through?
I'm not sure if he's put it through yet. He says he was going to be last week, so.
Should be in the system.
Right, okay.
Because there's certain information that gets passed through the office that of drawings or stuff that might be seen, that we should all have the full SC clearance, and it's probably something we'll need to speak to Lorraine Brundle about, is having a security, what's it called, Oh, it's like a cyber security stuff for.
Oh yeah, like yeah, cyber security and yeah,
Aye.
cyber secure accreditations and things like that. Yeah.
So that we can hold certain information. That's why we've got the TigerNet. Brian's on that, so we've got the TigerNet there, so they can send us encrypted documents that can only view on it and then shut it down again. So stuff like that, you know, we'll probably have to have, and we might even up the top site or even in here is have one of the rooms locked. So you've got to have a 5-lever lock on the door so you can then store drawings.
Yeah.
It's probably thought someone smashed the window coming in, but then it's something else we've got to look at.
Yeah.
And that gives Maud and Babcock and everybody else a bit more.
Extra peace of mind, doesn't it?
So that's something else we've got to look at. But I think
Never
it's-
ends, eh?
I know. It's just one thing after
You wouldn't
another.
want it to.
Ah, well, I look forward to some of the other R&D stuff. You know, because we've got other ideas there that I think can be quite lucrative. But then again, if it's patentable,
Yep.
but I'm not sure if the university's got a patent department.
Probably part of the engineering department. In fact, I think Theo mentioned that actually if you wanted to, because I said about getting an innovation voucher to do like a sweep of the IP and stuff like that, to look into like what you've got which is actually patentable and trademarks that you can get and all that sort of thing. And Theo had said that actually the engineering department probably wouldn't be interested in going for an innovation voucher, but it's something that they could potentially develop into like a mini KTP. So you could get somebody from the engineering department who's got a specialism in sort of industrial IP, if you like, and then they could come in and help develop the IP for whatever R&D stuff it is that you're doing. So always an option.
But it's
You'll get another one of these.
it's not sort of stuff that we've got in the background. You're thinking, you know, do you go down that route as well? You know, it's I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes the hardest thing's picking the direction to go in.
Yeah, you just try to see what's the most lucrative one, you know, or what's the best one to put in the marketplace. So you think, you know, but it's so bloody expensive into the market,
Yeah,
and you think, wow, I didn't realise it's going to cost that amount.
yeah. Route to market with a lot of stuff can be absolutely eye-watering. How are you with commercialisation of your ideas? Like, just as an aside, my old boss is she was a commercialisation consultant before she bought the company that I worked in. That's sort of like her thing, is like commercialisation of stuff. So
Is this like the Dragon Den sort of thing?
kinda, yeah.
Right.
So if you're ever like sort of stuck with, oh, I've got this idea, and I don't know the most effective route to take it to market, then that's the type of person that you can get in on a consultancy basis, and they'll be able to direct you in the right sort of commercialisation aspect. It's just something to think about, you know what I mean? Rather than, you might be hammering away at the coal face yourself, but there might be a way around the back, you know.
A door with the jar.
Aye.
You know what? All I do is go and ask a certain person.
Yeah.
It's knowing the right people to go to.
Yeah.
And knowing the marketplace as well. You know, and when you start looking at it, you go, that could work, that could work. You know, and they're sensible enough ideas that you could probably get into market. But then trying to take 3 or 4 ideas to market at the same time.
I see. Pick one.
That's it. You got
Pick your favourite.
to pick one and put it out there. And pick the easiest one.
Yeah, well, exactly. Low hanging fruit. That's what they always say, isn't it? Like, so, well, if you're ever sort of like stuck with a commercialisation aspect, let me know and I'll put you in touch with some people.
I'll put my ideas on paper first.
Exactly. Get them out of here and doing there.
Because as soon as you go to the patent lawyers and put it down, then you've sort of logged it on the system.
Yeah.
And then after that, then it's like the QB stuff. The QB stuff's always been in the system before you can tell folk about it. And then once it's in the system and it gets to a certain stage, then you don't have to give them a non-disclosure.
Yeah.
So that way you're okay with it.
Yeah.
So that's how we had the patent in place, and then could start developing stuff and putting it on the open market or put it on the web page and things like that. Before that, you couldn't really do that.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. Tomorrow will be interesting.
It will be. It will be. I'm looking forward to it. I'll stop recording you. 2 hours, geez, oh. Longest yet. I could talk.